Okay, so we're going to go on to loading our character into the game now. We come back to our scripts. You saw on the last video we set up a new session ID or a session variable, and we're now going to use that variable on our next page. So if we go ahead and start a new PHP script, we can leave the preset junk that's in there, and we'll stick our PHP tags up at the top. So there's a few things we need to include from this page. We'll take our style sheet and our script tag, which is loading in a Jquery, and we'll paste them in, and we'll also take our require setup include file. We're also now going to make another include file, and this is to load up our character, or all our character information. So we'll start with a blank PHP script, and what we want to do is run a query. And the query is to select all from our user characters table, where character ID equals something and our account ID equals something, limiting it to 1. So our character ID is going to equal that session of CID, and our account ID to the session of UID. We're going to save that into the scripts, the INC, and we'll just call this load character data .php. No, we don't want that one, sorry. We want, where is it? Oh, it's in our main scripts folder. So we want the load character data.inc.php. There we go. Right, we're going to execute the query. We don't need to initiate our connection to the database, because we've done that. We're doing that on the setup. And we'll store all the data into character. And we're fetching the objects. Now, the one thing we do need to do is to check to see if that CID and our account ID relate, and actually select a character from there. So we'll do our if SQL num rows is more than 0, then we're going to go ahead and load that data. Else, we're just going to header this to our character.php file and exit. So we're going to include that file now, and this is load character data. And we'll save this file on our root directory, and we'll just call it play.php. And this is where the rest of the game is going to run from. Right, so I've pasted in our header info. We've got our box div there, and we've got our footer info. I've also included a notify box. Let me save that. And I do believe, because I've loaded characters in here previously, we should be forwarded right to that PHP page. No, we won't, because we haven't put the check on the character page. So we're going to do a quick check of if is set. I'll get it right in a second. And that's session of CID. Then we're going to header location of play.php and exit. And we'll come back over to our load character data, because I haven't put location in there, and we're also going to unset the session CID if there is one, because otherwise we're just going to be stuck in an endless loop if someone modifies the session data and neither of the account ID and the session and the character IDs match. It's going to force us back to the character page, but the CID will be set, so it's going to force us back to the play page, leaving us in an endless loop. So if we save that, we come over here and refresh, we get sent to the play.php page. Right, so we can't go back to the character page and we can't go back to the main page, so we're now stuck inside the game, ready to play. Right, so now all we need to do is to add in our character stats. So I'll just create a new div here, and I'll fill out all of their relevant stats to be displayed on screen to us. Okay, so there it is. Inside this div, we just echo out each of the stats. Well, I've got the health, we've got accuracy, dexterity, might, resistance, focus, and insight. And out on the page it just looks like this. I'm not going to worry too much about styling at the minute, because now I'm going to briefly explain what we're going to do next. This game is going to have a map system, and I'm going to attempt to run this map system from XML files. So in order to try to make this easier, we're going to look at making a map maker using various different methods. We're going to be using the spriting method, which basically means using one image to generate loads of single images. We're also going to use a drag selection, so we can highlight multiple cells, and anything else that we need to look at using. So there's going to be some things that you're going to want to look at and produce yourself. I've got here a basic tile sheet. This is about the extent of my artwork, my artistic skills. But here we have 7 different tiles. We have an empty tile, and then these 6 here are all wall tiles. So we've got a wall tile, a wall that goes right across the tile. We've got a wall that ends one way and ends the other, and then we've got the same thing but going left to right or right to left across the tiles. So we can make simple rooms and have open space. Now these are all 50 by 50 pixel images. So it's not those are going to be the size of our tiles. And I've also found a nice little sprite to use as our player, just for placeholder purposes. So that's our images. The next thing we're going to look at is this plugin for Jquery that I found. It's a sort of a drag selection plugin, and this one alerts you to how many certain cells you've selected when you drag. And you can find this at this address up here, and it gives you the complete Jquery plugin code and the CSS styling as well. So we're going to go over and start developing this tool. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out, but we can give it a go and see what happens. So join me in the next videos where we're going to start developing the map maker tool.